Hi, I'm Jeremy, the Zoo Nerd, coming to you live from my backyard in beautiful Los Angeles, California. How's everybody doing today? I hope you're well, I hope you're happy, I hope you're healthy, and I hope you're being safe, staying home, and listening to the guidelines from the scientists and the health professionals. Today is a special day. Today is Earth Day. Now that may not be special to you, but it's special to me. And it's special to millions of people around the planet. Earth Day is the largest non-religious holiday that is celebrated by the most number of people across our globe. Over 1 billion people today will do something to think consciously about how we treat our planet, how we treat our home, and ways that we can do a little bit better and do a little bit more. Today's not only Earth Day, but it's the 50th anniversary of Earth Day. Earth Day was started by people who wanted to do a little more and make some changes for positive reasons, for our environment, for the other creatures that lived here on Earth, and for ourselves. Today's Critter Chat isn't going to focus on a specific animal, but more about this movement. This movement that has been called the environmental movement. Now, whether you consider yourself an environmentalist or not, that's your choice. But if you care about animals, you have a lot of reason to believe in the good that Earth Day does, and that the good of environmentalists do. And trust and believe, environmental movement has done a lot of great things for you, for me, and for everyone here on Earth. So in 1970, actually in 1969, let's take it back a year before Earth Day started, there was a huge oil spill off the coast of California near Santa Barbara. And that oil spill caused a big concern for a lot of people that lived in California at the time, and for a lot of people who were passionate about some of the endangered animals who lived nearby. That included things like sea otters, who we recently talked about in Critter Chat. And with that big oil spill, there were a bunch of people who were getting pretty frustrated by the laws and the lack of laws that would protect the environment, protect our ocean, protect the air we breathe, and protect the water we drink. And so several different people got together, starting with a senator who believed that we could do a little bit more. And so he dreamed up something called Earth Day. And he planned for almost a year and worked with another senator, so there was a Republican and a Democrat senator working together. I know that's sometimes hard to believe in the US that people can work across party lines, but it happens on occasion. And Earth Day was one of those. 2 senators got together, they worked with some environmental groups and some people who were trying to make some positive change. And for that first Earth Day, back in 1970, which was before my time and probably before a lot of your times, 20 million Americans came together and were mobilized for increased protections for the planet. And they were both Republicans and Democrats. They were rich people, they were poor people. They were experienced adults who had lived a long time, and they were young college students hoping for a better future. They were people who lived in cities and people who worked as farmers. They were people who owned businesses and people who represented the workers in labor unions. They all came together, 20 million people. At the time, that was 1/10 of the people that lived in the United States. And they had goals and ambitions to help make change happen. Later that year, we saw the creation of something called the Environmental Protection Agency. That's sometimes called the EPA. The EPA worked to make a difference, and made a difference they did. Later that year, they also rolled out the National Environmental Education Act that encouraged environmental policies and the way we treat the planet to be taught to schools and to be taught to children learning and growing, to care for the planet and to care for the resources that we have. Later that year, also in 1970, came the first Clean Air Act that helped limit some of the pollution that was in the air being caused by many of the industries in the area. and also the Occupational Safety and Health Act. This helped prevent diseases and hazardous work conditions for a lot of workers who worked around dangerous chemicals, and helped improve working conditions for many people who worked in risky industries. All of those happened that year because of Earth Day. But it didn't just end there. It also led to the Clean Water Act, which was passed 2 years later in 1972, and in 1973, the Endangered Species Act. It also helped spawn movements like Save the Whales and Don't Cut Down the Forest, more protections for our wild places, more national parks, more state parks, protections for cleaning up beaches, cleaning up rivers. Do you know that in the 60s and 70s there were rivers in the United States that caught fire? A river on fire because of the chemicals and the pollution that were in it. With the creation of the Environmental Protection Agency, a lot of things improved. And many of us don't understand how hard some people fought to make those improvements happen. But I live in Los Angeles. It's the second largest city in the United States. When I was a kid, LA was really known for its bad air quality. And as you can see behind me today and on many, many days in Los Angeles, we have really clean air. How is that possible when there are over 4 million people in the city proper and another 15 million people surrounding it? It's because California and the Environmental Protection Agency enacted some really tough laws. Sometimes those are a pain to follow. Sometimes it's an inconvenience. Sometimes it means you need to repair your car or you can't burn your fireplace. But all of those things have helped make our planet a little bit better. Today I'm going to talk about one of the special places that I've been able to visit that has really made an impact in their local community. It's one of my favorite places on earth, and it's the place that I visited in 2010 in Kenya, in Africa, the other side of the world from here. As a little kid, I always dreamed of someday going to Africa, and I never thought it would actually happen. That I'd be able to see elephants and rhinos and giraffes and hippos and zebra, lions and hyenas, cheetahs, leopards. But it became a reality for me. And it became a reality because I had a good friend who encouraged me to make it happen. And I had very good support from my community and from my husband, who made it all possible. And we saved up money for 4 years, made special plans, and in 2010 I visited Africa. And the place we stayed for most of our time there, we were there just over 2.5 weeks, but the place we were at for about 10 of those days is called Lewa Wildlife Conservancy. And it's a very special place. It started as a cattle ranch. It had been a cattle ranch for almost 100 years, owned by a British family who moved to Africa to raise cows. They had a lot of land, and they worked with some of their neighbors to do more than just raise cows. They'd always been somewhat friendly towards most of the other wild animals that lived in the area. And about 35 years ago, they made a change to be even more friendly. They stopped raising cows and created a wildlife sanctuary. And they banded together with several of their neighbors, and they created the Lewa Wildlife Conservancy. Today, that's 93,000 acres. That's a lot of land. And they've worked very hard to protect their environment. And to do that, they've done some pretty amazing and pretty unusual things. But they've had a lot of success. Today, they are home to 14% of all of the rhinos in Kenya. And that's 2 species of rhinos, the eastern black rhino and the southern white rhino, which, although it's not native to Kenya, thrives in their environment. They also have about 10% of the Grevy zebras in the world. 10% live on this one space, this one plot of land. They're home to elephants and lions, hyenas, cheetahs, leopards, giraffes, ostrich, some hippos, some crocodiles, and they let all the animals work together. Sure, they intervene occasionally to try to help save some endangered species. They have a strong anti-poaching regime, and their small wildlife protection agency has ensured that they've had zero poaching, zero, since 2013. They've been very successful. But what I really want to talk about, LEWA, is not how they've helped the animals, but how they've helped the people. The people who founded LEWA realized that it was more than just putting up a fence and protecting the animals. They needed to involve the local communities. That area of Kenya is a hard lifestyle for a lot of people. They often have droughts. They sometimes have fires. They sometimes have floods. It's a hot, harsh, dry environment. It's an impoverished area. It's close to other countries who've had a lot of war. Sometimes when there's wars in other countries, tons of people come across the national borders and settle in the land without really owning the land, without really having a place to stay. LEWA Wildlife Conservancy understood that to succeed in helping the animals, they had to succeed in helping the people. They believe strongly that the future depends on communities being able to derive their day-to-day livelihoods in ways that are compatible with the thriving wildlife habitat. That statement impresses me. I think we could all do a little more with that. If we could all live our day-to-day life by protecting the world around us and together thriving, I think we could make a big change in the world. And I think this is a good time to start thinking about what some of that could look like. So LEWA Wildlife Conservancy, in thinking about how to help the people around them, they first realized that a big problem was education. And so they decided that that would be one of their first focuses. They now support 23 schools in their local area. And those schools are for the children of the local communities. Education has been a struggle for many people in rural Kenya, in rural countries around the world. Many kids do not have a chance to go to school at all. They sometimes are asked to work or forced to work and take care of things like goats or sheep or cows, or stay at home and take care of their younger siblings. So LEWA wanted to change that, and they've created schools, and they've created ways for people to afford to send their kids to school by helping out the parents. But they don't just help the kids, they help the adults as well. They focus on adult literacy programs, and they've had over 400 people each year sign up to be students in their adult literacy programs. They've helped them understand how to do basic finances. Then they realized it wasn't just education these people needed. They also needed health. They've supported 4 clinics in the area and have built another from the ground up that they run today. And their clinics have benefited over 50,000 people. They've done a lot of good to help out those people, but they thought that they could still do more. They started water conservancy issues. They've built storage tanks, small dams, and helped people learn how to grow crops and irrigate those crops in a better way. They've recently started something called agroforestry, where they're protecting the forest around them and helping people to grow things that they want to eat in the forest without cutting down the trees and ruining the forest for the animals that live there or for the people that will come later. They've started nurseries where they raise over 6,000 saplings every year. They give these to the local people. They plant them in their local environments, and they help maintain a thriving forest environment on the edges of their conservancy with their partners. They've helped over 17 communities with water projects that have benefited over 2,000 people. Clean water is a big problem in a lot of rural places, and they've done a lot to make it happen better. They've also established a micro women's credit program to help women who maybe don't have the means to support their families, single mothers who have kids to feed, maybe don't have a lot of skills in life, to learn how to make a living. They support them to do weaving or jewelry making or crafting or gardening. And they've done a lot of good things that have really helped their local community. So that's just one conservation organization, but they've been a huge impact on their local community, and they've been doing it now for 35 years. And with that, they've been a model for conservation organizations around the world. Many places in many parts of the world have gone to LEWA to ask how they made it work. And they figured out how to involve their local community. The guards that LEWA employs to protect the rhinos aren't just people from somewhere. They're people that grew up there. They're people who know the landscape. The teachers that they support in the schools aren't just anybody. They're people who grew up going to those schools. They know that it's a holistic program. You help the people, they help the animals, they help the environment. So what can we do? How can we help? What can we do across the world? Maybe we have problems here. Maybe those problems could use our help. There's a lot of easy things you can do to make a difference. Cut down your use of plastic. Reduce, reuse, recycle. Use a reusable shopping bag when you go to the store. When you go to the store, go to all the stores you need to go to that week. Make a list. Get it all done at once. Save energy, save time, save gasoline. Save resources. Turn off your lights. Burn less gas. Turn off the water, don't let it run. Plant your yard with drought-tolerant vegetation, or water it with rainwater. You can collect it, you can save it for dry times. Plant a tree. Do some gardening. Grow some food at home. I've grown tomatoes and peppers the last year, and they're some of the best that I've ever had. And I grow them right here in my yard. And that's exciting to me. That's something I enjoy. I have pomegranates, oranges, and loquats that I grow here in my yard. I'm able to feed myself with some of the food that I grow right here. I know where it comes from. More importantly, I know that there's not dangerous chemicals on it, because I've taken care of the land that I have and done a little bit more to make it a better place for others that live nearby. I make sure that I have plants in my yard that are attractive to bees and hummingbirds. I make sure that my dogs don't disturb little birds who maybe fall out of a nest, and do a little bit more to help out in any way I can. When I go shopping, I try to choose sustainable products, whether that's food or lumber or something else that I may buy. Where does it come from? How was it made? How were the people treated who made that for me? These are all things we can all do to make the world a better place. How can we support these organizations, someone asks? You can donate. If you have the means, if you have the money, you can send them some money. Most of them have a website. You can always help them out. For specifics, LEWA has a website. It's called lewa.org. I'll be putting some information up about them later on today. But there's other ways we can help out. This year in the United States is an election year, and everyone's thinking about the presidential election because that's the big one. But there's going to be other people that are elected as well. And all of those people up and down the ballot have an impact on our local environment. That may be a city council member. That may be a mayor. That may be a senator or a House of Representative. That may be a governor. That may be somebody else. That may be a school board. Any of those people have some says over how things happen in our communities. So does the president. And I encourage you to support politicians who protect the environment, who aren't trying to do away with acts that have been put in place or laws in place that have saved animals, made our air cleaner, made our water cleaner. Support politicians who help the environment, who protect it, who protect our resources, who protect you. Not protecting some business, not protecting some outdated manufacturing or energy consuming industry. Do something that helps us all. Do something that helps our planet. I'll be putting up some links and some tips for other things you can do later on today on our Facebook profile. As always, feel free to share this content with your family, friends, neighbors, anyone who would enjoy learning more. I'll be back again tomorrow to talk about some animals. But today, take some time to think about how you can make a difference. If you're watching with kids, get them involved. Next time you go to the store, find some seeds. Plant a garden. Plant a little tree. Plant some bushes that grow something that's beneficial. Have them learn how to help take care of things. It's all something we can all do to all make a difference. Again, enjoy the day. Have fun. Be safe. Take care of yourself. Our special shout out today is Lewa Wildlife Conservancy. They do amazing work. I'll be posting a lot about them later on. And a very happy birthday, Earth Day, to my good friend April. I don't know if she's watching, but today's her birthday. For many years, we worked side by side at the Phoenix Zoo, and we celebrated many, many Earth Day birthdays together. So happy birthday, April. Love you. See you guys all tomorrow. Take care. Have fun. Be safe.